Hello, my name is Jack Sampel. This assignment required us to look at different internal and external communication practices and different internal and external public groups within our school and community. And so I made a flow chart to clarify this and make it easier for the viewer. Also, with this, I use Creately. In the past, I have used Creately, so I originally went ahead with that option as well. Again, I was like, oh, this is familiar. That said, this flow chart was a little more complicated, and I was not able to add as many graphics as I'd wanted to because they have a limit for the free account. That said, that was the only challenge I really had with this platform. Other than that, it was awesome. So first, let's go through the chart. First, we have the internal communication. And this is within the school, and I consider the students both internal and external communication. So we have internal communication takes place within the organization. And as you can see, the head principal and office staff, who we only have one office staff, it's the principal secretary, and she helps give communication to a lot of people. She might send an email drafted by the principal, anything like that. And he communicates with a lot of people, everyone within the internal publics, and also he communicates with the parents and community members. And I just had him go right here to parents and community members because that encompasses all of these groups as well, because Piper Optimus, Business Partners, Piper Educational Foundation, the Piper Booster Club, and the Piper PTA are all composed of parents and community members. That said, the teachers also are kind of interwoven, and they go all throughout. Same case here. Anybody who is connected to parents and community members, they also might have relation and communication pathways with the other groups as well. So as far as strengths goes with these different communications, we do need to up the frequency, I think, of how we communicate with the external groups. And that said, as you can see in one of the resources, communication usually occurs from the internal to external parties, and that's usually formal and with low frequency. And that said, I think we can keep it formal, and I think face-to-face conversations, depending on the situation, can be a little informal, because I think sometimes those formalities and things like that really get caught up in what people's motives are. And I think it's important for parents and community members to see that the staff of the school, everyone involved at the school, is a person. And I think that builds relationships and strengthens transparent communication. That said, I do think we have a really good strength with being available. Our head principal has a open door policy for everyone: students, staff, community members, parents, business partners, whoever it is. He has an open door policy. If he's available, he will talk to you right on the spot and hear you out and speak with you. And I think that's just really a great quality and form of communication that every head principal should have, just because it gives that openness and transparency right in the moment. And also, we are available via email. We have a policy at our school that we have to answer emails within 24 hours. And this is a good rule for parents to know they're not slipping under the radar. They're being heard, and we're going to be responsive to their requests and their questions. And as far as weaknesses go with the external communication groups, I think Piper PTA, the Booster Club, and the Educational Foundation could be a little more um, proactive with their communication. I don't hear much about them, and I would really love to hear more about what they're getting into, because I know they're really helping out our students. I just don't know exactly the specific ways they are, and I would really love to hear what they have to say. And so, as you can see, my chart is a little wonky, and that's mainly because the head principal is connected to so many people, but also, he is really tied into hearing people out. He wants to hear what you have to say. He may even seek you out personally to hear what you have to say about certain situations. We have a very huge career focus push right now within our school and district. And so when we're starting a new initiative, he pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, what do you think of all this? What do you think we're going about it the right way? What are you excited about? What are you nervous about?" And I just think that's really awesome. And also, I forgot to mention this before, the orange boxes signal helpful and clarifying information. And so, as far as the publics and what groups belong in which public, there are several different subcategories of publics. I think they're really broken down into internal and external, but also I think this really helps prioritize which ones are really important and detrimental to the success of our program. And so we have the primary membership of each public, and the primary public, that's really important. We see here publics with a direct influence on a school's ability to achieve goals. I put all of the internal publics. I think every single group and person goes into our goals. Custodial staff, cafeteria staff, our students need to be well fed to focus well. Paraprofessionals, I know many special education teachers and general education teachers would not be able to do their jobs without them. Assistant principal to help take the load off some of the head principal duties like discipline, things like that. And the athletic director. And I think it all just goes into what we expect from our students. And so that requires involvement from the parents and community members. Of course, the students need to be a part of this as well. They are detrimental to the success. And I also put in the business partners in this section because it is so crucial for them with this career-focused initiative that we have at our school right now. And so a little bit of a summarization of this. I'm not going to read it to you. I will attach this poster for you to read. We use various forms of communication. As far as internal communication goes, we accomplish this by email, phone, meetings, and face-to-face conversations. And that's in no particular order. We're not necessarily a huge school. So if I have to have a question or have to ask somebody a question, I usually just go to their classroom. And also many of the community members and parents, they communicate through email, Facebook groups, and meetings as well if they're involved in those clubs. And they might also text, call, or have a personal conversation on an individual basis. Overall, communication between the internal publics and the external publics could be improved by utilizing more methods than just emails and newsletters. I think there could be an initiative to make sure to have contact with each individual family at least once throughout the year. And I know once sounds like a small amount, but one conversation can really build that relationship that you have with families in the community. And so I think if the school has a strong, solid communication pathway for all stakeholders, it's going to lead to everyone having a clear vision of our goals and priorities, while also providing consistency with how we're perceived from the public. Also, teachers communicate in a variety of ways. They use emails, phone calls, Google Voice, and they might send information home with students. That could be through a paper or just saying it to them. And also, teachers try to relay information that might have been previously shared from the school. We make sure not to take our best guess at what things mean with the principal. If something's misconstrued or we don't understand it and the parents don't understand it, we kind of have an okay standing of saying, I don't know, but I will find out for you. And I think that helps us have a clear message for what we say to the community. We need to have a unified message at all times, and that's going to, really help everyone be on the same page. As mentioned before, the principal has an open door policy. Oral communication is utilized in most internal public groups. As I said, we're not a huge high school. We have a lot of face-to-face conversations. And also digital distribution, emails, social media outlets, and the district website are all ways to get information and communicate to the community. And lastly, written communication is utilized through our newsletter. We actually have a student newspaper as well that students can bring home to their parents, and also letters pertaining to certain situations. And email is mainly used as a two-way communication form. And we also use Google Voice to promote two-way communication. That said, I think we could use more two-way communication. I know there's a lot of programs out that could really be beneficial. Of course, I don't start off texting parents. I do it only if they're not answering phone calls or emails. It's just might be a convenience thing for them, but I think there needs to be more implementation of those two-way communication, and I think we'll get a stronger outlook from our parents. And that said, social media and digital content has created this need for constant communication. Many groups need two-way communication, especially within the internal public section. I think it's necessary for us to do our job, really. But also, I've noticed that our parents and community members really don't seem to have a need for it unless they're talking about their child's individual education. If they're involved in the other groups, then I think that means they kind of want just kind of an informative, they don't need the two-way communication, but when it comes to their child's education, they want answers, they want them now, they want that constant communication. And so I think it's a little gray area in there with the parents and community members. Since they make up all of these groups, it's important to recognize that they're switching hats a lot and they're wearing a lot of hats. They're part of them is being a parent in the community, and maybe they're the treasurer of the Piper Optimist Club. It's one's for the benefit of their individual child, and one is technically for the benefit of the individual child, but also the benefit of all the students involved. So as far as all these working together, as stated before, the school is a community, the community is the school. Parents and the community members in Piper are very much involved. And really, if they have a question, it doesn't go unanswered. You just don't hear about many people not answering emails as far as being involved in the school. Everybody's trying to help everyone else get these students to be the best they can be and have a great education and a future career path.